Hello again. This is Jonathan Haber, a consultant working with IMS Global. And in this series of videos, we're showing you how to create a academic standards framework within Case Network. Up till now, I've been showing you how to add items to a framework, and we created our framework and we added items that created a hierarchy, and then we started adding additional items for standards into that hierarchy. But I want to show you how you could save time by taking advantage of copying functionality within this application. Now, as I noted before, there are several items below the K1 standard. We copied 3 of them, but there's actually a bunch others. There's 11 altogether. So I could, if I wanted to, just hit add a new child item, create a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, all the way up to 11. Okay, but there is a simpler way to do it by copying existing items into the framework. Okay, now to do that, I will click on this Copy Item button. Okay, and that allows me to specify a framework that I am copying from. Now, I can actually copy from any framework within Case Network, but in this case, I want to copy an item from an existing framework, the one I'm working on, the Virginia Physical Education Standards of Learning. And you'll notice here it indicates that that's the document being edited, meaning that's the document that is over here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to select that. Okay, and now I've got the same framework that appears on both sides of the screen. Now, remember I said I want to end up with not with 3, but with 11 items under K1. So what I need to do is I need to copy more items into this K1 parent. So I do that by clicking on the item here on the right. In this case, I'll pick K1A. And then while holding down my mouse, I'm going to drag it until it's over K1. You'll see there's a little arrow over that kind of blue caret there that indicates it's ready to copy. And when I release the mouse, a copy of K1 has appeared into my hierarchy. Okay, let me do that a few more times. Okay, and now I've got multiple copied items here. So why is that an advantage? Well, if I open up one of these copied items, one thing you'll notice is that all of my metadata has already been specified. Okay, and in fact, my human code is almost there. Okay, but of course, this text in the full statement field is wrong. So just like previously, I need to copy the text for this standard and then paste it back here. So I just select all this by doing Control A and then pasting. So my new text is in there. And here I have to remember that this is now K1D. Okay, and I've just created my next item. Okay, do that again. Copy the next item. This one's K1E, but I don't have to do anything else. You can see how this is a faster process, saving you a bunch of steps. Okay, now I can continue doing this with all the other items under K1, but I want to show you another copying function that'll save time. So for now, let's just sort of pretend I finished all the K1 standards. What I could do now is I could copy not the individual items, but entire parent tree. Now, as you notice here that this framework is not updated to reflect the changes we've done here. To do that, I need to refresh the screen. Then I would need to bring the copy back again and open up that framework another time. Now you'll see it's got all the new items in it. Okay, but here in this case, I'm going to not copy an individual item, but I'm going to copy an entire group of items by doing the same thing, clicking on it, dragging. In this case, I'm going to copy it not into K1, but into the strand, motor skills development. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, if we look over here at our framework, K2 is very similar to K1. Okay, so I can double click on the copy of K2. I can copy this text, change the human code to K2. Okay, but again, all my metadata is already specified. This is a way to more quickly create a whole group of standards. Okay, I can copy an item. Here the K2A standard. Again, I got to get rid of that A. I got to specify here this is K2A, but all my metadata is correct. Again, we'll just go through some of those same steps I showed you before. I'll get rid of the numbering, select my next item. K2B. K2C. And K2D. Okay, now this leaves me with some extra items, right? Because I copied more items than I needed. There's only 4 items here. So the way you get rid of items is to click on them, okay, and then go over here and click on the delete button. That'll bring up this message. You say, yes, you want to delete it. I can delete this one. And I can delete this one. Okay. So that's one editing function. You can delete an item by just selecting on it and clicking on the delete button. Okay. But I can also edit an item if there's an error. For instance, if you look at this one here, you can see I added the 2 in the wrong place. So I can click on the item and I can click on the edit button. Okay. I can also do that by just double clicking on the item. This brings up the dialog box and I can fix my error. Okay. And now these ones are all correct. Okay, now one last thing about copying I should bring up, that if you click on an item that's been copied and you scroll this list to the right, you're going to see that there's an association because I copied this item from this item. It maintains an association with the original that it was copied from. And you don't want those associations, right? In another video, we'll talk about associations and what they are good for. But here, this association is just a remnant of the fact that I used the copy function to save time. So there's one more step you need to do when you're copying, is you need to delete these associations. You do that by simply clicking on this box here. Okay, that'll bring up a message asking if you want to delete the association. I'll say yes. Now that association is gone. And again, I could sort of do that one at a time. Okay, but in fact, there's many associations here from everything I've copied. So one last trick I'll show you is if you want to delete many associations, you can go to the top of the screen here and click on Association View. This is going to show you all the associations you have in your framework. This indicates there aren't any associations, at least aren't any associations of these types that are checked. Okay, but if I uncheck those and check exact match associations, which are created when you do a copy, you can see there are several associations. And I don't want any of these, right? I want to get rid of all these. In this place, I could do it by simply clicking on the X again, but click on the X in this table. Okay, this gets rid of the associations more quickly. Unfortunately, there's not a sort of delete all button. You still have to do this one at a time. Once you're done, there's no associations left. You've got your copied framework, and everything is exactly as it should be. So that's a trick you could use. You don't have to. Like I said, you could sort of create items in your framework one at a time. But you want to save time and work more efficiently, especially if you're working in a framework that is structured very systematically, like this one we're working on, like most frameworks are actually, then I suggest you use the copy function in order to save time. Okay, and in our last video coming up next, we'll talk about how to review a framework after you've completed it. Thank you.